handle the truth! When I was pregnant, before he sent me away, I started seeing little girls come out of his house, and I was getting these weird feels in the pit of my stomach, and I said, he is messing with those kids, I can tell, and they shouldn't be in his house that late at night. It was little children, like 7 to 8 years old, some young teenagers, 11, 12, and 13, and it just didn't make sense to me.
What prompted you, how did you get to write this letter? It was a letter she wrote to the authorities. I am an ex-member, question the sick-minded and theocratic hold that Dwight has over the thoughts of his followers. Dwight has been exercising more divine rule to do whatever he wants to young girls below 16 years of age, young boys of the same age group, and a herd of concubines. Please save these children. Had you not ever written this letter, this would still be going on today.
Sheriff Sills visited 404 Shadydale Road on a number of occasions. As we see here, he visited the land to shut down the Ramesses Dance Club. And it was also during this time that the Sheriff's Department was aware that the molestations were taking place. But unfortunately, they didn't have enough evidence at the time to go in and remove any of the children.
2001.
Yeah.
Okay. Before Habiba. Actually, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know Habiba. Yeah.
And we had no real information to work on about child molestation.
Yeah.
Until, I mean, we suspected it. You understand what I'm saying? But there was no. In December of 1998, I had some medical people tell me that what they suspected to be underage girls were having babies.
Yeah.
Okay? That's when we first started investigating.
And that was at the local, hospital?
Not here, it was actually in Milledgeville.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then we met with Habiba, and then we started finding out things.
So it's from 1998, it's did anyone try to go and to the land and
yes,
check on the kids? Or?
Yes, but we didn't have enough, shall we say, for a search warrant or something like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Once we had the information about that Habiba actually provided, and even then, I don't know that we had testimony, shall we say, that it was going on. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, okay.
But once that started, then we began to identify girls. I mean, like one in Florida, but what I'm saying is we had to find them.
Yeah.
They didn't really come forward.
Yeah, because I know Pauline had someone, and it was Sakina, and I was like, well, how come it was that big time gap in between?
No, it was. And then there was also a lot of resistance on the part of the feds. They were scared we were going to have a Waco type situation. Okay.
One of the reasons or excuses used to explain why law enforcement hadn't arrested York years prior was due in part to the racial climate in New York at the time. Fresh out of the 1960s and in the early 70s with the COINTEL program, many felt that it would be counterproductive to move in on York, even knowing that he was involved in criminal activity, as explained here by Bill Osinski.
According to an intelligence report compiled by a domestic terrorism unit of the FBI, York had previously used religious trappings to hide his conduct of a wide range of criminal enterprises. Using the name Imam Isa, York, for a period of about 25 years, was the ruler of a black Muslim group that for most of that period was called Ansaru Allah Community, based in the Bushwicks section of Brooklyn. Because of the hostility between New York police and other black Muslim groups of that time, I'm talking about the 70s and 80s, local authorities had granted York what amounted to a criminal carte blanche. On the outside, the group appeared devout. Ansar Allah's children marched in their robes twice daily from schools to the mosque for prayers. The women silently cast their heads down when they came outside. The flower pots outside their collection of townhouses were well tended. Even a nationally syndicated columnist wrote about them, commenting the streets of their neighborhood were the most drug-free in all of New York. What the columnist did not know, and the FBI later learned, was that the reason there were no drugs dealers in that neighborhood was that the AAC Mujahideen thugs would beat up the drug dealers, relieve them of their stashes, and sell the drugs elsewhere in the city. According to the FBI report, York's 25-year-long stint as a Muslim holy man, during that time he was actually directing a criminal enterprise whose activities included welfare fraud, arson, extortion, bank robberies, and at least one political assassination. About the time the FBI was assembling its report, York was hopping the midnight train to Georgia.